Have you ever been curious about what coaching is? Maybe you have a friend who's actually worked with a coach and you wonder what's the benefit of it, what's the outcome, or even if it's maybe for you. Hi, I'm your host and coach Helenka, and welcome to Living Vulnerably Authentic. And today we're going to talk all things coaching. We're going to answer the question of what is coaching, who is it for, and what you may be able to expect from a session if you were to actually work with a coach and move forward with a container of support. Have you ever read a self-help book? Maybe it's something like The One Thing or The Compound Effect or Atomic Habits, or heck, maybe it's anything by John Maxwell. All are fabulous and highly recommend. But you read the book and you're so excited and you're inspired and you've learned these nuggets of information. Heck, maybe they've just confirmed some of the things that you've already known before. And yet you put the book down and you go on with the rest of your life and nothing has changed. Although the information in the book is fantastic, taking it and implementing it from a knowledge base of what you've reading to actually implementing it into action within your life is hard. There's a struggle, there's a disconnect in order to implement it in. That is what coaching is all about. As a coach, we work with you alongside you. There's this really beautifully connected system that we share between coach and client so that we can work together to help you implement those strategies so that you can live out your passion and your purpose and you can end the days and the years really feeling this sense of accomplishment, right? Of whatever it is that that looks like for you. Now, we do this in such a way to help you become unstuck and to discover a way of moving forward that feels so aligned with you that it doesn't feel like extra effort. There's this ease, there's this flow, there's this real moving forward in a way that feels so good. And not only feels so good, but that is sustainable. Now, let's talk about the distinction between coaching and therapy, because I think that's actually really important. And although there's a lot of things that actually sort of are very, very similar between coaching and therapy, they're two entirely different systems. Now, I myself work with a coach and a therapist, and I have a lot of my clients that work with both because there are beautiful things, and sometimes we need both things. We need both elements. Need both practitioners. But I want you to think about therapy as if you feel like something is wrong and you are learning a way to navigate that something's wrong or this understanding of why it is that you do different things, right? So we're going into the past, we're maybe uncovering different trauma, we're uncovering different belief systems, and we're becoming we're allowing ourselves to have this greater understanding to why we are the way we are today. Now, there's different types of therapy, and it can definitely expand way more into that. But sort of as a basis, we're going from the past and we're coming into the present moment. Versus coaching, we start with the present moment and we're constantly looking forward. We're constantly taking actions to move towards something that's happening. Now, there are times when we uncover different belief systems and we uncover different things that are holding us stuck, but we don't go into the process where we're really diving into the past, where we're uncovering why we're doing certain things. We're not really uncovering the trauma that may sort of have created a different systems of beliefs or habits that you actually have today. With coaching, we really come from this place where you are whole today. You're not broken. You are perfect exactly how you are. And we get the ability to address things to be able to go from good to great, right? To be able to move forward so that you can achieve the goals, so that you can be able to dream, so that you can be able to move forward in all aspects of your life, so that you actually feel this sense of accomplishment. You feel the sense of joy. You feel the sense of actually moving forward and loving where you're actually coming from. Now, it's not necessarily always about learning more tools. And yet, there will be tools that you need to learn in order to implement them. But it really is taking these very simple ideas and allowing them to be implemented in your life. And as we know, sometimes the simplest things are not easy to be able to do on a regular basis, right? So it's often the simplest things that we do that leads to these greatest things in moving forward. And yet, if they were easy to do, everyone would do them and no one would actually feel stuck. Now, with life coaching, we treat you as a whole person, right? Maybe you've seen things within coaching, and there's sort of these business coaching and health coaching and career coaching and behavioral coaching. And yet, taking this from the stance of life coaching, you are you no matter what it is that you're doing in your life. You're showing up as you in your career. You're showing up as you in your family. You're showing up as you approach and work towards your health goals. And so, with the element of life coaching, we're going to address you no matter what your goals are and allowing yourself really to tune in and to really become anchored in who you truly are. You're going to learn the skills that you need in order to be able to accomplish anything. Want to share the example of my client here. So this client is in her 50s and she's done a second career working in real estate. And at the time of me recording this in Canada, and especially in southwestern Ontario, the real estate market has been a little bit of a struggle. Things aren't moving as quickly as they did a few years ago. You know what I mean? Real estate agents are kind of really struggling. And real estate agents really use coaching quite a bit, and they use real estate business coaches particularly. Now, this client in her second career and in a stage where she doesn't have the history, the contacts, you know what I mean, the experience of some other agents, has been freaking rocking it. So for the last couple of years, she has just been on this roll where she is she's winning awards and she's breaking records and she is surpassing any of the goals that she has for herself. And all her fellow agents ask her who she's working with from a coach. And they ask her the particulars of what she is doing from a real estate perspective with her coaching, meaning like how many prospective calls is she doing and what sort of strategy and what's the specific marketing, all the things that, they think they should be doing. And when she shares that she's working with myself, a life coach, and that really what we're actually doing is addressing her and how she is showing up in all aspects of her life. They don't understand. And the biggest impact on her business has been taking the time for herself first thing in the morning and creating a morning routine to which she is able to show up fully embodied with a specific goal in mind. And we have worked more on carving out time for herself in order to feel settled, in order to feel anchored, in order to be able to fully show up for herself in all different areas of her life so that she can have a bigger impact on her clients, so that she has the energy to make those prospective calls, so that she is able to do all the other things that she should be doing. Because the reality is she knows the list of what she needs to do in order to sell real estate. But it was happening in such a way where it was becoming these shoulds and this to-do list and this exhaustion of this never-ending things of being able to cycle of what to do and feeling like a failure because we don't actually accomplish all the things and we don't get all the to-do lists off and all the things that happen in life. And yet when we take a moment and she was able to sit back and start from this really foundation of how she wanted to show up in the world, how she wanted to show up for herself, how she wanted to show up for her family, how she wanted to show up for her clients. She was able to translate that and be able to do everything she wanted to do with her business. Let's talk about what coaching is not. Unfortunately, we're in a day and age where almost anyone can call themselves a coach. You can easily do a weekend course that's online that's giving you the structure and how to tell people what to do. And yet, that is actually not true coaching. True coaching is really different from being a teacher or a mentor or really giving people the steps of what they need to be able to do. And by need, I mean kind of doing that in air quotes because the needs of each individual person is going to be different depending on what your goals are, depending on what your desires are, depending on what your values that you actually base your life on, depending on what your circumstance and the stage of life that you're actually in. True coaching is not shame-based. It is not a shame-based system that tells you if you don't do things a certain way that you're not successful. There's a lot of programs out there that have this real structure where there's stages and lessons that are supposed to happen week after week after week. And I've worked with people who have come from these other systems and really felt terrible about themselves because if they missed a call, if they missed an exercise, if they didn't do things in the way that the particular quote unquote coach thought they should do, they were berated. Now, these are adults that we do not need to get in trouble for not doing things a certain way. If you're feeling shamed, you're no longer within a true coaching container. It's not following the specific structure or a lesson plan, and it should be completely personalized to your needs, your goals, your circumstance. What real, true coaching is guidance. It's a system and a container of support to which we are able to ask questions and reflect on different possibilities. We're able to ask questions and reflect on different perspectives. We're able to ask questions and create support so that you're able to truly connect to yourself and decide how it is that you want to be able to move forward. And all that is done within this compassionate accountability. Being able to have someone who is your cheerleader, who is in your back pocket, who is there to fully support you, but to do so in a way that is compassionate, to be able to help you move forward when things get hard, to help you move forward when things become unexpected, right? To help you move forward when, let's be honest, life happens and doesn't go your way and no one's following the script in your head of what you want them to be able to do. It truly is working together with your coach hand in hand to be able to support you in a way that you need in order to be able to move forward. So, who is coaching for? And really, I think it kind of falls into three categories, at least for myself, of the clients that I'm working with. Now, a small percentage of people in category one, they come in with a very specific goal. They have a very specific thing that they want to be able to accomplish. And yet, year after year after year, they make no traction on it. These are kind of the people that really sort of hold on to your news resolutions. You still have this desire to go, but you're not quite sure how to take the steps to move forward in order to achieve that goal. Now, the second category of people, which is more often than not, is that you feel like you're on the hamster wheel of life. You're living the same year over and over and over again. And although you have really good intentions of doing things different and moving forward, you start off right, but then somewhere along the way, it naturally fizzles out and you find yourself catching into the same cycle, the same patterns, the same results over and over again. And the third category, which I would put pretty much 90% of my clients into, come to life coaching because they cannot answer this single question. What do you want? What do you want? It is such a simple yet powerful question that so many of us can't answer. We have all these excuses that are legitimate, that we can't go after what we want because we have other people who are relying on us. We can go after the thing that we want after our kids have grown up. Or we're in a different stage of life and a different transition of life when we've done something for so long that we can't even imagine what's next. You're in that job that you hate and you leave there feeling stressed and you feel that stress actually coming into your family, that you're not really loving your family life because you're not able to be fully present. But the thought of changing your job and career is so overwhelming that you don't even know what you would want or what you would do, or the fear of the stability that you have created. You can't move past that, even though the stress is killing you. You're in a new stage of life where all of a sudden you have a new family and you're not quite sure how to actually be with your family and take care of your family without losing yourself. You're starting into the next stage of life where your kids have grown and your career is going and you're actually thinking about retirement, but you don't know what to do after that because what happens next? And what I love about this question is that for so many of us, it is so scary because thinking of anything other than what we're doing right now, we actually have no idea. And yet, the having this space and this support to be able to see the different possibilities and to be able to see a different perspective. I love to explain it that your life is like if you were to have a gallery wall, a room. So you have a gallery museum room that is your life. And each different stage of life, you have a canvas. And if you are looking at what's next, what it is that you want, what's happening in the next stage, you're looking at a blank canvas. And that blank canvas can look so scary because it seems like it has to have something dramatic. What do you even start with? What's the first color? What's the image that you want to put on there? And yet, if you take a step back and are able to look at all the canvases that represent all the different stages, all the accomplishments, all the struggles that happen in life, they start to merge in showing this beautiful mural that really gives you this depiction of who you are. And that's what coaching allows us to do, is having this container of support that is incredibly safe and supportive so we can take that step back to say, what is it that has served me in these past moments? And what needs to change? And what do I need to do? Who do I get to be? And how do I get to show up in order to create that next canvas that I am in love with, that I am proud of, and that I can't wait to take the next steps forward? What can you expect within coaching? Now, my style is really a personalized program, and yet we really address three specific things and in a specific order in order for you to be able to have an understanding of who you are, what you want, and what are the things that you need to do to be able to get there. So, number one is we take ownership. We uncover the beliefs that are holding you stuck. We uncover the patterns that you have been repeating over and over again that has led you to where you are today. And really, with this ownership, we start to take this full responsibility for our lives without judgment to where we are today and where we want to be able to go. We start to realize what our values are and all the times that maybe we have taken action or lived against our values. And most importantly, we start to understand the cycle of stress. The second thing we do is we learn this process of embodiment, right? And that becomes sort of the tool to help you answer the question of what it is that you want. Who do you get to be? What's the identity that you need to actually show up as in order to answer and achieve that question of what it is that you desire, what you want that canvas to look like? How are you going to move forward? Learning the process of embodiment, which really means connecting both our brain to our bodies, right? Our thought process to the actions that we take, our thought process and our emotions and opinions on things to what's actually happening in our body so that they are true and connected. It allows you to start to step forward in a way that feels light and feels with ease. We talk a lot about the flow state, and that's probably a term that you know quite well, which really happened and came out of positive psychology. of that feeling that you get when you're doing something that you love so much, that you're working on something, that you're learning something, that you're engaged in something that's slightly difficult in order to keep your focus, but not so difficult so that you get frustrated or distracted. That becomes the state that we start to live in, where we really have this openness, this moving forward, this drawing to. And there are very simple tools in order to change your mental and emotional state by addressing the body first, by learning the process of embodiment and starting from a bottom-up approach, a body to brain approach, in order to help you move forward and take action. Which comes from our third tool to be able to go is action. Right? Action we need to take. Any change that happens is because we're taking consistent action moving towards something. Now, this action needs to be simple. This action needs to be sustainable. This action needs to be a way that actually feels so good, light, and aligned with your values and who you are. And with the coaching container, we give you that sustainable action steps, but also that compassionate accountability to help you take the action. Because any new action that maybe is something that you don't do just yet, right? New action that is outside of your comfort zone is not a habit yet. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of momentum and a lot of consistency in order to feel the traction to move forward. One of the common things that hold people back is feeling like they need the confidence in order to take action. And yet confidence is something that's a byproduct of action. You don't need the confidence to start. You're going to gain the confidence from actually starting and continuously doing the thing to help you move forward. And as a coach, this is the biggest thing I help my clients with is holding them in that compassionate accountability so that they can get the momentum, so that they can gain the confidence to move forward towards the thing that they desire the most. Working with a coach and starting with a coach, I like to think of it like the experience of renovating a room. Okay, so you have this room that you want to renovate and you get so incredibly excited. You're finally ready to do it. You've taken on the task, you put money away in order to be able to do the renovations. You're motivated, you're excited, you go to the store and you pick out the paint color and you come home, you have the paint and you have all the things that you're going to do and you're going to get started. But then you have to start cleaning out the room. You start cleaning out the room, you start patching any of the holes, you start taping off. And this stage always feels more of a challenge than you think it's going to be. It takes longer than you think it's actually going to be. And there's a sense of frustration that you kind of wonder why the hell you decided to renovate this room in the first place. Then you put that first roll of paint on and you're not quite sure about the color. It's not exactly the color that you picked in the store. And you're not quite sure if you can actually see the whole vision of the room like you did when at the beginning when you were first excited to start. But you trust the process because frankly, you've already started and you have to continue. The second coat of paint goes on and it's closer to it. By the time the second coat's on, you start to remove the tape, you start to put the furniture back in order. You start to hang the artwork or maybe actually rearrange the room of what it looked like and buy new artwork for the wall. And by the time the process is all done, you're able to sit in this room and really enjoy, and it's exactly what you thought it was going to be. Heck, it's even better than what you could have expected the outcome to be. That is the process and the feeling you can expect when you come to coaching. Thank you for listening to the Living Vulnerably Authentic podcast. I'm your host and coach, Helenka, and I truly believe the secret to finding and living your purpose is to be vulnerably authentic and to live an aligned life. Until next time.